as we go today. Today's webinar is based on a platform overview of CUBIQ dealer services. Make sure you check out www.finning.com for a list of upcoming webinars where we'll dive deeper into each one of these functions and features to get you the most out of your platform. But here's a quick rundown of the topics that we'll cover today. Let's get started. Let's talk about what's new and improved since the last platform overview. The first and most obvious to some is our new name. For those who didn't know, we used to be my.finning.com. After a rebrand and a new logo and a new name, welcome CUBIQ. What does CUBIQ stand for? It's not an acronym like most people think. As we evolved our offerings to our customers, we felt we needed to brand under a new name for all of Finning's digital services and solutions. Also new are asset groupings. You can now create an asset group for yourself. The grouping function can provide a simple filtering tool that can be used to identify and sort assets based on the groupings you create. And to improve this even more, stay tuned for our next update where Asset Groupings 2.0 is coming out, where it'll also allow you the ability to share your groupings with other members of your organization. Another improvement made to CUBIQ are the multiple linking options from CUBIQ to other platforms, such as the use of a links tab on the left-hand side of your page, allowing you to navigate to multiple other platforms, or the direct links to parts.cat.com from the machine information on asset monitoring, or the orders and invoices section. Also new and improved is your search feature in orders and invoices, which I will demonstrate today. A simple drop-down menu allows you to pick what you want to search from, whether it's part number or PO, and you can even use a partial search number. You can enter multiple part numbers in the box and click enter to find the invoices that those items were purchased on. If the search number comes up red, it means it's either not found, maybe a wrong number, or not ordered off this account. Welcome to the CUBIQ dashboard. This is the screen you will see when you first log into your navigation portal, where you can go from here. The menu on the left-hand side pops open for easier navigation to the apps that you'd like to see more about. You will also see service recommendations and asset monitoring, where you will see at a glance how many machines are reporting. You can see if you have any critical health actions that need your attention. The service recommendations application is for our customer value agreement partners with active CVA agreements. Below that are orders and invoices, showing you at a glance how many orders are prepared, how many are ready to pick up, and then returns histories for your parts orders. And lastly, at the bottom of the navigation menu is a little question mark taking you to our help center. Other applications we won't be covering in the live demo is My Documents. By navigating to the My Documents tab on the CUBIQ homepage, you will find documents related to your business relationships with Finning, such as your data governance, which is uploaded and then ready to sign. Eventually, we will use this location for your warranty, CVA contracts, subscriptions, bills of lading, or any other documents that you have signed or are required to sign while doing business with Finning. Due to the sensitive customer information in My Documents, I won't be demonstrating this live. A quick rundown on service recommendations, as there is also a webinar coming soon focused solely on this CUBIQ application. Today, recommendations are provided to our CVA partners by Finning and Caterpillar experts who turn data into valuable insights to aid you in reducing unplanned downtime, risks, and costs. The purpose of this is to get the right information to the right people at the right time. Our condition monitoring team is looking at that data, analyzing it, and identifying negative trends to advise of your corrective actions, with the goal to improve your asset uptime and overall asset health, including advising on service interval changes and enhancing operator behavior. This view identifies the problem both in a written description and, if available, with pictures. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. Often the issue is hard to describe in a few words with what a single picture can convey. The severity indicator is a key to informing you, do I need to look at this now or can it wait till morning? And from there you can dig deeper into information on the asset. The serial number is a clickable link to the asset details of that machine. And you can actually respond directly in the app on how you would like to proceed with this recommendation. Now I'm going to switch gears, moving over to a live demo. This will only take a moment. Here we are at the login screen. Which login button do I use? Easily the top asked question for new users. The majority of users will use this login, yellow login button for an email login. For anyone that has requested a 365 account, you will use the blue button. And anyone who has their linked Caterpillar ID can use the black cat CWS button. For today, I will use my 365, and it will take me to the login screen, which is also your Windows login. Oh, goodness. All right, here we go. So my view is slightly different than what you will see, as I have admin functions. Also keeping in mind, you will load directly into your account, and I have to log into a dealer access account for us to continue. All right, here we go. So as mentioned before, this sidebar opens and closes for easier navigation to each one of the features. And this dashboard gives you a glimpse of all the applications you can now navigate to. You can see orders that are ready to pick up in the preparing state or invoiced. And over here in asset monitoring, you can see how many machines are reporting, how many have critical health warnings. But let's start with orders and invoices. So across the top navigation bar, you can see you have which orders are in preparing state, which ones are ready to pick up or partially ready, as well as which ones are picked up, and then you're invoiced. The picked up or ready to be picked up is very convenient for when you're trying to book a tech who can swing by the branch, pick up those parts that are now ready to pick up and continue on to the job site. Now, if you're an accounts payable clerk, to very easily find your parts invoices, you can click on invoiced. As I previously mentioned about the search feature, this is where you will come in here to search. By dropping this menu down, you can search by part number, purchase order, invoice. So as an accounts payable clerk, if you were looking for a specific invoice that is on your statement but didn't show up in your mail, you can simply select that invoice number and it will search for it and bring it up. Seems to be taking its time today. There we go. And so then right here, this blue invoice number is a clickable link over to your PDF file that you can either email to yourself or print directly from here. You can also search here by part number. It will bring up anytime you've ordered that part number. As well as right here, you can navigate to return parts. By selecting return parts, it's going to bring up a very similar screen to your invoiced, in which you're going to select parts. You can again search by partial numbers. You can search by POs, find the invoice that you were looking for, and then you can start that parts return by selecting the part, your reason for return, and the number of them. You will then select your drop off, additional details, and print out a returns order form, which will go with the parts to the branch. That is the feature in the next webinar on May 18th will be a complete dive into the returns parts feature on CUBIQ. Now, once you've completed that parts return, by simply clicking on returns history, it will navigate you over to all the returns that you've created. Requested means that you've completed that paperwork and dropped it off at the branch. And then eventually it will come up as complete when that credit is complete and back on your account. Now we are going to navigate over to asset monitoring, which I just have to quickly switch accounts here. All right, let's navigate over to asset monitoring. You'll notice once all your machines load that you have either a map view or a listed view. Now, if you don't want a map view and you'd like to create yourself some more real estate over here, by simply toggling this off, it will get rid of the map for you, and it's very easy to bring it back. So if you are someone who likes to use serial numbers and you're not seeing them across your screen, by dropping this menu down, you can very easily select what you want to see on your dashboard. So whether or not you would like to know what the fuel level is or what the family is, you can notice that as I'm making these changes in the background, the screen is changing. Once you've got all the selections that you want, now you can also move these groupings around. So when you log in, you can see them in an order in which works best for you. Then once you've got it set up to how you would like it, simply clicking up here at Save Workspace will save that view for the next time you log in. It will not affect anyone else in your organization. It only affects your view. Now, if we move to asset groupings, which I discussed in the new features, clicking here to asset groups, you can create asset groups for specific groups of machines, whether they're on a specific job site, specific brand models. So we're going to call it the Jones Street. So all those machines that are working on that street, you're then going to go through your assets and start selecting your group, your machines that you want to show up in that group. You can select as many as you want, and then you're going to create the group. Now, from here on out, when you want to see that Jones Street, by simply clicking under asset groups, you will see all of the groups that you've created. So by clicking Jones Street, now all your Jones Street machines show up, or whatever your site is called. You can also navigate very easily back to seeing all your machines. So let's dive a little deeper into the asset monitoring. By double clicking on a machine, you can see its current location, when it last reported, hour meter, serial number, as well as the quick link that I talked about earlier over to parts.cat.com to buy parts, or over to SysWeb to look up parts. Across the top, you will see fluid analysis, where every time an SOS sample has been pulled for your machine, it will show up here. It will also show yellow if it needs your attention, green if it's good, and it will show up red if it's something major is going on. You can also click on the down arrow where it will read out everything that was found in that sample. Also across the top are fault codes. So every time the machine has thrown a fault code, you can come here and have a look, as well as it will show you low, medium, and high. The nice part I find about the fault codes is when your machine throws a code and it's way out in the bush somewhere, you can come in here and see current above normal, after treat injector, heater. You can order parts before you go. You can look up some troubleshooting. You can be a little more prepared when you head out to site, especially when we have techs traveling a considerable distance to get to those machines. It's nice to go as prepared as we can. The inspection tab shows you every time a PM has been completed or a inspection at a branch. And by simply clicking on View PDF, you can actually download that complete with pictures and information on that inspection. Location history is pretty self-explanatory. You can select your dates to see where that machine was during that specific date range. CVAs will show you any active customer value agreements with Finning. It'll also give you the date in which it's going to expire. And warranties tab will also show you active warranties on that machine with the expiry date. A couple other things while we're in here under equipment management, that's also where I had mentioned service recommendations. Here is the My Documents tab that I had spoke about, as well as your useful links. So here's a navigation to all of these websites, and then our help center. Now I'll click back over to the PowerPoint here. That concludes the live demo, but let's focus on where you can get help, learn more, or reach out. By navigating off the little question mark on the navigation bar, you will find some live chat features to get you in contact with someone right away. This live chat is monitored by a person in our customer service center 24/7. You can also schedule a live one-on-one training with myself or my counterpart, Lisa, as well as you can also find videos, recent webinars, some frequently asked questions. You can sign up for our upcoming webinars so you don't miss out on any of them. Now, before we open up for final questions, I just wanted to let you know of the webinars planned for this year focused on specific features. Like I demonstrated, you can sign up for these webinars off the Help Center or just reach out to me directly if you wanted more information. Next month's webinar is an in-depth look at the parts return feature. And then parts.cat.com also does semi-weekly Tuesday webinars in which can be booked off the same links on finning.com. Now let's have a quick look and see if there's any questions.
So this is the time that you can either unmute yourself and ask the question live or put it in the question box. Jamie, I don't see any questions at the moment. So we'll just give everybody a minute to ask any questions that they may have. And I believe I've unmuted anybody if they wanted to ask a question.
Hi there, Cal.
Sorry, go ahead.
You go ahead first.
Is there a webinar on using the ordering system?
Parts.cat.com?
Yeah.
Yes, they run their webinars every second Tuesday. Lisa does a dive in on parts.cat.com so that can be booked off finning.com as well, or you can just reach out to us and we can get you the link over to sign up for those.
I was just going to say I'll put the link in the chat so that everybody has it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep.
And then there was another question at the same time.
Hi there, Calvin here from Mill Creek.
Right.
What's the advantage of going to 365?
It just uses your login from your computer. Now, the only reason I had to re-log in is because before I actually demonstrated, I always clear my cookies to make sure that everything's going to run smoothly. And unfortunately, it also clears my password out. Now, had it worked how it normally would, once you've logged into your computer and you click 365, it'll take you directly in there without logging in. The only reason I was asked to log in is because I cleared my cookies.
Yeah, and just to add to what Jamie said, the only difference is the way you log in. So if you're already logging in with an account, the difference, you just put in your email and a password. When you have an Office 365 account, you just use your Windows window. So it's just probably one less click away, but the end result's the same.
Okay, it'd be nice to tie in like SIS 2.0 CUBIQ and our HIS all together with the same password, but hard.
So that's what the CWS ID login. We can share with the group here video that shows how to do that CWS linking. So what that does is takes your Caterpillar ID, creates like the handshake, if you will, between the systems so that you only log in with that one password. Now I'm going to do a big button, a pause. Caterpillar's just recently changed their login. So we're just going through and sorting that out in the background of what does that handshake look like. So it does require in many cases right now to log in a second time, because that's like late breaking as of last week. But yes, that's a very common question or feedback we get is we would like to have a single sign-on, and we had that, but now it's a little bit broken. Great question though.
Thank you.
Answer one of the questions from the chat. It says this is free to customers, right? Which CUBIQ is free to customers. The only time there will be a cost is if you wanted to add features such as service recommendations, which is purchased through a customer value agreement. But CUBIQ as a platform is free.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yep. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me? Oh, excellent.
Yep.
Under, if I was to do orders and invoices and I take the date range and I was to put 6 months in there, I apply it and I press download, but I'm not getting any downloads. Is there like a limit?
So yes, there is a limit to the download. So I'm just trying to do it myself. There should be actually a fix going into the system, I think even today, if not, it's
okay.
next week. So there was, there's a lot of customers, it's growing and growing. So it's all, so we were finding that if it didn't download immediately, it would almost time out. And then, so I'm assuming that's what you're experiencing.
Probably, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's.
But they are looking into a remedy.
Correct. Yeah. So in theory, yes. If you've done your date range, so the key is, try to make your selection criteria, really narrow it down. So use one of the pre-canned filters along the top of the screen.
Yeah.
And then if you use that date range, so that it narrows it down, and then you can do that download.
Yeah, like I found the value of doing it individually on like parts and everything else like that. But for certain aspects of the job that I'm doing right now, like to have anything from a 6 month to a year, to identify kind of the things that we were putting into place, to have that data would be great. So for sure.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. So yes, that is there. And then can you tell me who that was so I can make sure that I reach out to you when I see that improve?
Yeah, it's Greg Lupel, heavy metal.
Excellent. Thank you.
And that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then I'm just watching it. Can the fault, I see a question here from Todd, can the fault log be downloaded? I haven't been asked that question in a long time, and there was a couple changes. I'm going to look. The answer should be yes. So I'm just going to double check it. So when you're actually in the asset itself, there is sorry, my internet's decided it doesn't want to work. There should be a download spot right from like an export function from that individual asset itself. There is an asset, like an export data at the fleet view. I'm just trying to get into the actual fault code view to see if I can download it. So Todd, I may have to get back to you when my internet is playing nice with me, so that I can actually double check and confirm that for you. So I know that we can download the overall from the fleet view. What I need to validate for you is from the asset view. Stanton, you've asked a question. Thank you for the presentation. What are the planned improvements, developments for CUBIQ in 2022? So good question. So a lot of people, like the number one question we get asked right now is if it's, the single sign-on is 100% the first one. The second one is service invoices and some status on my service. So that's where we're hoping to see by the end of Q3, beginning Q4, the service invoices and some more improvements to some of those documents that Jamie highlighted earlier for the My Documents Center. For our second quarter here, the majority of the features that are planned are, some under the hood, faster processing, performance improvements, so it doesn't take so long to load. We've got a lot of users on now, so with so much data coming in, we're really seeing some slower performance. And even on the order side, just having it process and upload faster. So CUBIQ is very much a displayer of information from other systems. So it's all about the handshakes and how fast it talks to the systems behind the scenes. So there's a lot of that behind the scenes type of improvements. Very shortly, we are expecting to see a change to the asset groups feature in asset monitoring, and then that will be where you can start to share an asset group and have it located in more than one view, or the few things that come to mind for some development improvements for 2022. Just trying to scan the questions here. Does a fitting employee need to reference a customer account number in order to get parts pricing and availability? So Stephen, the short answer is yes, 100%. It's a customer tool. So for our customers that are seeing the information that they would see with fitting, not designed for necessarily for an employee to look up any customer pricing. I believe I have all of the questions I think I've answered all the questions that came in through the questions box. Anybody live here still wanting to ask a question?
I had one more question.
Okay.
For the fault codes, is there any way to get a list that gives you a little more detailed information of what some of the fault codes are? I know that like in CUBIQ, it's very short as to what it is.
Yeah, so that's where so CUBIQ wasn't designed to be like the telematics platform for the code. So there are the other systems, VisionLink. Are you a VisionLink user? Do you know if your assets have subscriptions with VisionLink?
Not currently.
Okay, so that I was going to say, so there you can get additional information there. The other way to get information is through some of the CIS areas. And then, are you on a value agreement?
No.
Okay, because I was going to say, yeah. So those are the locations where if you start to kind of use those other Caterpillar locations, you can now take that code and get additional information, or even use that code as a conversation starter with your parts person, so that you can say, hey, I've got this code, and then they can help dig further. So it's really designed to give you that starting point for your day, give you some information.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, if there's no other questions, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. There's a couple contact information on your screen right now. Please feel free to reach out if you think of a question later at our ebusiness@finning.com.